What's up? This is WaWa's Bootcamp, the PUBCast, episode 1, pilot, season 1. I'm joined this evening by, you know him, NA, Porosaurus. He is actually going to be the host for PGL, so he's moving on up in the corporate world here. And then we have Krimson, our resident EU analyst here, coming in here hot. So we got quite the brains on the desk this evening here. First, I'm gonna kick it to you, Krimson. How are you doing, man? What's going on? What's going on over there in EU?
Yeah, man. Yeah, pretty good. Enjoying my evening. Just ready for a bit of podcast with Mustache Dave, the man himself.
All right, and then Poro, you're actually in the process of packing up to catch a plane tomorrow. So I appreciate you taking the time here for the first ever episode. But how are you doing, man?
Hey, man. Anytime I can devote and donate over to Mustache Dave and the cause, I will always gladly do so. I'm excited though. I'm nervous. But I'm really excited because I feel like the teams that we have in this event in PGL are actually, I mean, they're really pretty strong. I mean, in past events, you've kind of seen like a big drop off between top teams and the bottom tier, but I think the bottom tier here is stronger than the bottom teams at the most previous lands that we've had.
All right.
I'm excited.
So you kind of already touching on that. So specifically this episode or this PUBCast, we gotta call it PUBCast. PUBCast TM. It's going to be about PGL because PGL is happening this week, and it's quite a big event. So this one in particular, this episode, as you can see right down there, all PGL talk here. So that's going to be this week's hot topic. So we were doing a little bit of talking beforehand. We got 16 teams, right? I'm just going to bring the list up real quick here. Here are the teams that are currently going. Any of them that stick out to either of you guys? I mean, if you just had to say one team, who sticks out to you that you're just feeling good about?
Yeah, feeling good about FaZe Clan, man. I mean,
that's easy.
Easy. Boro?
Easy.
Oh man, I got to be honest. Obviously FaZe is coming in as a heavy favorite, but I'm really excited about this new Ghost lineup. They recently brought on Energetic Turtle from Method, and they brought on Balak, and I mean those are two serious fraggers right there. So I'm really excited to see how Ghost kind of turns up at this event. Just because I don't know if you guys have been around the scene, you've seen the scene kind of develop as well, but when teams get those new players or have those roster shakeups, it always seems like the first couple of weeks afterwards they do really, really well and they just play out of their minds. This new Ghost lineup was announced earlier this week, so this is kind of like that key honeymoon period time for Ghost to come out and just like slay everything before anybody's really gotten used to them.
Yeah, they actually played, I believe, in Awesome this week together as a full roster, and I'm trying to pull up the scores here, but they were just slaying it. I don't know if they had any first place wins, but as a team, you could tell that their communication was on point. So it's going to be interesting going to this LAN event, right, for this new roster. But these are all veteran players. I mean, not too sure. Krimson, I mean, have you had the chance to check out this new Ghost roster yet?
Yeah, and I've seen Balak around as well. As Poro says, like he is going to be a big fragger. I'm calling it now. Like he is going to get some big plays in. I mean, I don't. The only thing about a new lineup, getting the synergy together, and then you got LAN as well. Like obviously, Energetic Turtle's been to LANs. I don't know if Balak's got any LAN experience. I think probably not, from what I know. So there's a little bit of LAN jitters going on, maybe. I mean, I hope they pull it out. As you say, like normally brand new roster, you got a good chance of, you got that like fire in your belly, you want to prove yourself. So I'm really hoping that comes out, but at the same time, I can see it, maybe
backfire.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
It's a risky move. I mean, I know why they did it, but it's a risky move just before a big event to make any roster changes.
Yeah, I mean, they were also an invited team, so they didn't really have the opportunity, or they didn't have to perform in the open qualifiers that did take part and then moved on to the closed qualifier. So I guess we'll start there. I mean, Ghost, they were invited, TSM invited, but let's talk about the qualifiers right here. I'm gonna pull up the qualifiers list. Here we go. So we got on the left, we got the EU qualifiers. In the middle, South American qualifiers. And on the very right, we got the NA qualifiers. So, I mean, you guys see anything here that you just want to touch on? I guess we'll send it over to our EU resident analyst here. I mean, he's in FaZe's kind of corner here. But looking at this, though, I mean, Grubby did beat him out for the qualifiers. Are you worried about this? I mean, look at these kills coming out from Grubby.
Yeah, true, yeah. I mean, first of all, like, these open qualifiers were really rough, right? I mean, 2 qualifying places to take out of the games is really hard. I mean, obviously FaZe managed to pull it out. It would have been horrible if they didn't manage to qualify, but I mean, it wasn't a sure thing, so that was pretty rough for them. But yeah, Grubby, you know, to me, I think Grubby kind of pulled it out on the day when they had to, which is really good for them, but I don't know if they're necessarily gonna be the kind of top tier material. You know, one qualifying result doesn't exactly prove your worth, not in my book anyway. And you know, I haven't really seen them perform anywhere else too much.
Nobody has.
Too many of the online, you know, yeah.
They play one.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of unproven. Unproven teams, like it's so hard to say. But honestly, I don't think they're gonna perform that well versus these kind of, you know, teams that know exactly what they're going to do. Basically, you know, they've done it 100 times before.
Well, the EU resident saying Grubby is not going to perform well.
Cool, man. Cool.
I mean, I know Grubby has quite the fan base over there. Every time I watch GLL EU, there's all these Grubby fans.
Oh yeah, you got a CIS team in there, man. All of a sudden the chat is just.
I mean,
you might not know what it's saying.
Massive country, man. You know, your fan base doesn't equal skill.
So I mean, are you worried about any of the lashback you're gonna get from calling out these Grubby squad here? I mean,
yeah, I'm calling them out. I mean, I hope they do well. I mean, Russian fans, there's tons of them, and it'd be awesome, you know, if they did well. Be great for the fans, but you know, just on paper, there's nothing to say that they're going to do that well. There's nothing to say they're going to finish top 3, 4, 5. I don't think. You know, I might be wrong. They might do in a Vanguard. They might pull out some really aggressive plays and, you know, push themselves up into the top 5 maybe at a push. But you know, that's where I think it's going to end, because it's just really about experience, consistency. Like that's, we know, you know, PUBG is about consistency, and I just haven't seen them play enough to say for sure that they're going to get that. And if they get it in scrims and they get it in the lower tier tournaments,
all right,
early.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. So I mean, you're rooting for FaZe regardless over there. They qualified. You're still rooting for them over the invited teams, correct? So I mean, FaZe is your top spot then, your top pick over there.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that FaZe wasn't invited in the first place is kind of
that's
ridiculous.
All right. I agree. But let's pass this over. That's our EU resident there. Let's get our NA. The host is going there himself. He's going to be representing. You know, he doesn't want to get in too much trouble before the actual event. But we saw EU United, Pecadores, actually the 2 squads that did qualify. Pecadores being quickly picked up there by Space Station Gaming, so they're going to be represented there. Any of these squads in the qualifiers, Poro, that kind of sticking out to you, or are you looking more at those invited NA squads? I mean, if you had to pick one NA team that really sticks out to you that you're going to be rooting for.
I mean, look, you always have to keep your eye on TSM, even though they only play in one of the kind of regular leagues. They only play in Awesome, which is, you know, arguably one of the weaker ones. You know, they have all the LAN experience. I mean, they haven't been doing fantastically at LAN. They've been doing kind of about average, but you know, they have that experience, and you know, the fact that it's a 20 game set at PGL, I think could be good for them. But you know, for whatever reason, that didn't work out as well at Starlighter. But and then who's our other invite? Our other invite, Ghost Gaming. We already kind of talked about the new roster. Could blow up, could in a good or a bad way, who knows? But they have been playing pretty good. I'm really excited about the former Pecadores SSG. Right now they're sitting in 11th in GLL, 7th in PUBG Online, and 10th in Awesome, for an average of 9.3 3 average placement across all 3 leagues, which puts them in the top 5 amongst all NA teams. I mean, they're playing really, really well, and they have been playing really well consistently since the beginning of the year, basically. So I would not be at all surprised to see SSG come in and just do
some work,
surprise a lot of people, because I mean, you know, NA is in kind of a weird position because our best teams at LAN so far are not in this LAN, so we have some new blood in there with SSG and EU United, who also they've kind of gone through a recent slump. They're slipping a little bit in GLL and PUBG Online, but they're still kind of dominating in Awesome and in the Stream.me. They're in second right now. So I mean, they have these flashes of brilliance, and they do really well. They scrim with the EU boys a lot. I know they end up doing pretty well in those scrims. So I mean, either one of these two qualifier teams could end up, you know, coming out and just shocking everybody, and could give, you know, the phases and the vitalities a run for their money.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree with you. Space Station Gaming, their roster, you got D-Master, Vexel, Hwin, and Smurf. I mean, a lot of fraggers, and I think what's been working for them, at least in my opinion, is they're not trying to fall into that meta play where we see everybody just rushing center. They're going for the edge strat, and it's been paying off. I mean, that's just my take on these guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to actually work with all of these other teams. I mean, we're going to have teams from South Korea, from China, from South America. I mean, honestly, I'm not too up to date with all of those strategies. So it's going to be interesting to see how this actually, you know, comes into play. And on that note, so we kind of touched on NA, we kind of touched on EU. Let's touch on the other regions here. I mean, we got South America, Chaos Latin Gamers. That's the name that they went under when they qualified. After they qualified, they quickly got picked up by Team Secret. So they are going to be representing that region of the world. And then we got Chinese teams and South Korean teams. I mean, anybody that let's just pass it over, I guess, to Krimson, and you open discussion here. I mean, out of those regions, any of these squads kind of stick out to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see the Koreans. Basically, like OG and Entis, you know, they playing at Starlight. Okay, they got 7th. It's not amazing, but it's way better than I think I would have put them before the tournament. And we saw in that tournament that as the games went on, they actually adapted to that FPP. They started to get their play style correct. You know, they worked out what you can and can't do compared to the TPP stuff. So I'm looking forward to them. I mean, we know like the Korean, you know, work ethic is way up there. So I bet they have been scrimming and practicing and trying, you know, to get those FPP down. I know they've been playing some scrims with the EU teams as well in the FPP side of things. So that'll help them out as well. So I think OJ and Entis definitely. MVP, that was previously, they were KSV no title. They played they played a little bit that I've seen on the TPP side, and they're not too bad on that side. But the problem is you're playing first person, it's difficult. You know, I think they're just going to hit the first half of the tournament hard because they're going to suddenly have to adapt. I don't know if they've been scrimming enough really to, you know, as far as I know, they haven't been scrimming in FPP. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. But again, like, I feel like out of all those regions, the Koreans are going to be the ones that can maybe make it up the leaderboards for first person.
Kind of just surprise everybody, right? Because of the tactics. Port, what do you want to say?
I disagree.
Oh,
I respectfully disagree. So I'm going to say, so the thing with the Korean teams is that they're sneaky good at making you think that they're better than they really are, because they're good at placing. They're good at making it to late game. They're good at getting placements, but they have, at least in Starladder, OGN had one of the lowest kill totals of any of the teams. What they do, it's this perpetual thing that we're having to deal with competitive PUBG, is to where, you know, you want to put a lot of effort into making it to late game, but you can't just do that and get a high placement and finish 3rd or 4th or whatever and win. Like, you have to get those kill counts, you have to get kill totals, and I have not seen any Korean team in any land so far just really go on one of those insane kill everybody kind of sprees. Like they're just not fraggers yet. Now, OGN has been scrimming with NA a lot, so it could be that this is where they kind of round that corner and they start positioning themselves, not so much in safe positioning, but in positioning where they can maybe catch some people out in transition and start picking up kills that way. But you know, it's still kind of one of those things that remains to be seen. Now,
I would, sorry to cut you, but I would take that argument about OGN and I would apply that to TSM, because you know,
that's true.
Earlier you said that they could, you know, make their way up the leaderboards, but I mean, I feel that's exactly TSM's problem as well. So, you know, it's a strat that we always talk about consistent finishes, and I guess FaZe are the master of consistent finishes, maybe. And you're definitely right that you need kills in there, but I mean, these teams are, you know, I think if you're ruling out OG and Entis, you're ruling out TSM, because, you know, ultimately the point system gives you points replacements. Maybe it doesn't matter too much if you only have a couple of high frag games, or you get, you know, an average amount of kills across the tournament. You can push yourself up there.
I'm fine with ruling out TSM.
Oh, hey, all right. Well, you're gonna meet these guys in person at the event, so
like I said, I mean, if they, you know, and it's not like TSM doesn't have the experience anymore, and then, you know, same with OG and Entis, like they know that they need to start getting kills. Like the thing is you know, you have to get comfortable with that part of your game of making it to that late game, right? You have to get comfortable of making it to the late game and contending for those top spots. And I think that both of these teams are now comfortable with that after these last two lands. Now, the scrimming and all that, what that's going to do is get them more comfortable. Like, okay, we know we can make it to late game and we know we can place. Now let's start working on this next phase. Let's start working on picking up more kills. How can we put ourselves in positions where we can get these frags and get these kill points that a team like FaZe or a team like, I mean, they're not in this tournament, but Liquid, what they do, essentially. So, and, you know, this could be the tournament that they finally turn that corner. And I think, it sets up pretty nice for them. But, you know, like I said, it's going to be hard to get past a team like FaZe, who's been doing it pretty consistently. You just kind of have to hope that maybe they have one of their off weeks.
All right. I mean, the only thing, let me hold on. I got cut here. The only thing with TSM that I feel like that they really have going for them is their roster. They've been together for quite some time now. So they have that, and they have that LAN experience. You kind of brought this up, Poro. It's a 4-day event, and they're coming out, or at least recently, off of an event similar to this. I believe Star Ladder was 4 days as well, right? Or which one was it? I am. Yeah, 4 days. So I mean, what'd they get? They got 9th place over there, so not too hot. But that LAN experience with 4 whole days, I mean, that's going to come in hand, as a lot of these squads, they just might not have that. And at the end of the day, longevity, I mean, you have to perform every single day compared to these online events where it's 1 night, 4 games. I mean, I don't know. That's just my take.
Yeah, just what I was going to mention, though, is they just switched AIM PR out and
put
in as a starter. So that is a big change, but I think it's probably a good change. I mean, NPR seems great, but some of the Star Ladder games, he was the weak link, I'm going to say. I mean, he's got the tactical mind for it, and putting him in as a coach, analyst side of things, which I think is what they're doing. I think that's a good way to go. So I'm hoping that they actually, you know, turn it around a little bit as a result of that. But then you've got the problem that, you know, you've got a new person you got to gel with. They have been playing with Rory, you know, a couple of games where he's been subbing and that sort of thing, but it obviously changes the makeup of the team a little bit. So that's going to be interesting. All
right. So let's see here. We're at 20 minutes here. We're coming in hot. We touched on a couple of the regions here, and then there's just a couple squads that we just have no information, or at least very little information. So I guess this is kind of leading into that dark horse kind of topic, you know, Sun Sister, Tainted Minds, Snake TC. I mean, don't get me wrong. There might be people out there that love these teams. They know them. They follow them since day one. But at least from my perspective, I can't say there's much out there. I mean,
I got a little bit.
All right, let's see. Throw it on us, man. Drip it on us.
So Talking to a couple of the players from the Oceania scene, as far as Tainted Mind goes, they're one of the better teams. They're definitely one of the better teams in that bracket, if not one of the best. The problem with Oceania is that there's just so few competitive teams, at least Australia, so they end up having to play with, on Chinese servers or Korean servers, and it makes for just a really rough experience. So they're starting to try to scrim a little bit more and try to go to different areas, but when you're in Australia, you're in the middle of nowhere, it's hard to get. You can scrim with, you can get in on NA scrims, but your experience isn't going to be the best as far as in game. So I don't really know what to expect out of those guys per se. I will say that the NA scrims have also had Snake TC in them, and players can't stop talking about how hyper aggressive they are. And you go back and you look at Star Ladder, and the highest placing Chinese team was 4 Angry Men, came in 8th, just above TSM.
Yeah.
TSM came in 9th with 312 or with 52 kills. OGN Entis came in 7th with 49 kills. 4 Angry Men came in 8th with 87 kills.
Whoa!
Like they
bragging out.
This is the Chinese play style, though. They're just hyper aggressive, and they will get a whole bunch of kills, but they will often just lose players in an engagement. Then they go and seek out the next engagement, lose a player there. They seek out the next engagement, lose a player there, and then they just they nickel and dime themselves to death to where they don't end up getting very good placement points, but they get a bunch of kills. So the question is whether Snake TC or OMG or LGD, these teams that are kind of grown in this hyper aggressive Chinese play style, if they can learn anything from the scrimming that they've been doing to figure out how to maintain that aggressive play style, but still make it to late game and with enough players to contend for good positioning. If they do, then they could be very, very dangerous.
Krimson?
I think we might see a couple of spoilers from them in terms of places that they drop as well. I know obviously we know, having watched a lot of the games, I'm sure they're going to be researching the games, they're going to be researching where the big teams drop, that sort of thing, but I don't think they're afraid to fight early, and I think that's probably a problem. Maybe not literally hot dropping on top of another team, but in terms of knowing that Vitality are going to be around the Milta area, I don't think they're going to be afraid of that. I think they're going to be, okay, well, we want to go near Milta, we're just going to go and fight them, and that could hamper some of these teams that maybe traditionally have a kind of an easy time rotating in, because we don't want to go over to Milta Power because there's phase Vitality, we don't want to go to these places that we know they're going to be these big teams, whereas these other teams coming in that maybe don't play as often with them, they're maybe not as scared, and as you say, aggressive teams, I think that could be a problem for some of these other more established playstyles that some of the teams have.
Well, we're definitely going to find that one out for ourselves, of course, here. But let's see, guys. We're winding down. I mean, this is WaWa's Bootcamp PUBCast, the pilot, episode 1. So make sure if you do enjoy this this show, let us know. Give us some feedback. I mean, we're constantly looking to improve, and we want to make this a staple within the community. We want it to grow. Maybe get some players on here, whatever. But this episode, PGL. So I'm just going to go out there and say it. We got around a couple more minutes to go. I want to get your guys' take. I mean, we could talk here all night long. But I want to get your take on at least who you think. Some predictions. I mean, this is what the people have been waiting for. My prediction, EU United. Taking it all. I might be a little biased, because I'm from the NA. But lately, I believe that they have just been on fire. If this was a month or two ago, you already know, Poro. I would have said Ghost Gaming all day long. But with this new roster, I mean, I know these are phenomenal players, but I'm not convinced yet. I need to see more. So I'm going with EU United. I'm not going to leave NA in the dust because, hey, I'm NA till I die. But you guys, let's get some predictions out of you. We'll hold you to it here. It's going to be $5 bets at least. So let's go. I mean, whoever wants to pop it off first.
I'll go on, Poro. You start.
You want me to start? Okay, I'll start. I think you can't really. I mean, to bet against FaZe at this point is stupid. They just perform so well and so consistently over such a long period of time now. I mean, I think that's a first place. But that being said, I think that it will not be. I think it's going to go to the last game. I think it's going to go all the way to game 20, and I think that it's going to be between FaZe and Ghost for first. In third, I'm going to put. Man, who am I going to put in third? I think I want to put Vitality, but Vitality has just had so many question marks lately. Like they just haven't been as dominant as they used to be. They look kind of scared in transition. They just don't. They're not playing with the kind of confidence that they used to have. So in third, I'm going to say that this might be the tournament that TSM really breaks out. I'm going to put TSM in third. I'm going to put OGN, Entis, and United in fourth, fifth.
All right, strong picks. Krimson, the EU resident analyst. I mean, let's see. What do you got, man? What do you got?
Yeah. So, all right, top four. I'm not necessarily in order, but I'm going to say FaZe, Vitality, Ghost, and United. But I mean, FaZe, they have to win it. If they just play even close to what they're capable of playing, they're going to take it easily. I don't see anyone here. Like, Vitality would be someone that could contest for the top spot, but yeah, as Poro is saying, like, they've not been playing as well as they can play. I hope they pull it out, because I do like the team, but, you know, I think I'm probably going to say FaZe, Vitality, United, Ghost in that order. I'm going to say OGN, Entis up there in 5th, 6th, and I'm going to say Grubby in 5th, 6th too. I think that aggressive, you know, I'm probably comparing them to a similar sort of team, the kind of aggressive CIS team that comes in, a lot of fan support, that sort of thing. But I think potentially, you know, kills mean points, and if you can get a lot of kills and okay-ish placements, win a game or two through aggression, through a bit of circle, you know, fortune, that sort of thing. I'm going to put them 5th, 6th, somewhere up there. I think TSM are going to be out of the top 6. I think Kingwin as well. We haven't really talked about Kingwin that much, but they've had
very really not good lately.
Recently. Yeah, and they've been having all kind of roster changes, all kind of changes in game leadership and that sort of stuff, and questions around that. So I think they're going to not perform as well as they probably should as well.
All right. Well, I mean, like I said, there's a bunch of things we can talk about here, but we're going to have to wrap this one up. This has been the first episode, WaWa's Bootcamp PUBCast. I'm looking forward to it. You guys can catch these guys anywhere you want. Look at the little Twitters on top of their heads right there. Got a little Twitter. Got a little. Oh, look at Poro. He's about to. Oh yeah, he loves that Twitter. But Poro, he's gonna be on the desk at the event, so you know, look for him at least. And Krimson, he's going to be in the backstage, kind of using his analytical mind to tally up all these stats and data for the next episode, because we're going to have a next episode. We're gonna shoot for once a week. I mean, this is just the first, you know, like I keep mentioning, the pilot, but make sure you follow, you subscribe, stay up to date with the Twitters. And hey, this has been the first episode, the pilot of the PUBCast. You guys want to say anything before we go? Anything before we go?
No. See you later. Bye.
Thanks, Dave, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, I'll see you at PGL.
Oh, yeah.